you do have one guy who, yeah, he's smaller, but he's a top fighter. He can punch, and he's fighting a guy who's not a top pro fighter, who's bigger.
I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it real easy.
Davis is a violent human being. He's a savage, and he didn't feel in his element. It's a real thing.
Boxing insiders believe that Jake Paul stands little chance of surviving against Gervonta Tank Davis. According to Shakur Stevenson, even though Jake has a major size advantage, it won't be enough to overcome Tank's skill and experience. Stevenson explained that Tank's ring IQ and timing would completely control the fight. While he doesn't expect Tank to go for a knockout, given Jake's size and durability, he's confident that Davis would outbox him from start to finish and secure a clear decision victory.
Difference between these two guys.
I mean, size will play some part of the fight, but if I'm thinking like I'm Tank, I'm probably just gonna go out there and try to outbox him and use my knowledge and IQ against him. So I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it real easy.
Is there any way any realistic or legitimate way in your mind you could see Jake Paul winning a fight against Tank?
No.
No way.
Nope.
Not a lot of people have talked about Jake and said he's got good power. Not even, and I get anything could technically happen, but you don't even see a realistic shot where he could land one big punch, and Tank being so much smaller, he just can't handle the power.
Nah, not at all. I think Tank is, he's been boxing his whole life. He's been boxing since a kid, so I doubt like that's going to be an issue or problem. I think Jake is good for where he's at, but I think it's just levels.
Do you see a more likely chance that Tank wins by decision or by knockout?
By decision. I mean, that guy's too big. I don't think that he's just going to knock that guy out. So I see him like outboxing him.
Could you see a realistic possibility where Tank could knock him out, although more likely that it is, like you just said, a decision?
Nah, I don't see him knocking him out, no.
Will you watch, Shakur? I mean,
no.
Obviously, no?
Hell no, nah. That ain't really like... I mean, like I said, here's the thing. Like, I got two sides to me when it comes down to I got a business side, then I got a competitor side. And from the competitive aspect, it don't excite me for me to be like, okay, I want to watch it.
Showbiz the Adult explains that Gervonta Tank Davis has already proven he can handle taller and bigger opponents like Ryan Garcia. He reminds fans that Ryan wasn't just taller, he was also faster and more explosive. Yet Tank still found his rhythm and defeated him convincingly. The YouTuber and analyst points out that if Tank could close the distance against Ryan, who had real boxing experience, then Jake Paul will be no exception. While Jake's size might look like an advantage on paper, Showbiz emphasizes that boxing is really about distance control, timing, and ring IQ, areas where Tank truly excels. He adds that Tank has mastered the art of reading his opponent's movement and setting traps, and once Jake steps into the ring with him, those skills will quickly come into play.
Emotionally, see if he's rattled. See, when it's all said and done, the whole talking shit goes out the window. Jake's scared. And let me tell you this too. I looked at I'm sizing them up. I'm looking at Tank and Jake, and I'm looking at them. Tank can reach him too. He reached Ryan Garcia. He reached Mario Barrios. I was like, he ain't gonna be able to reach him. He's gonna reach him. I saw Tank's gonna reach him. He knows he's gonna reach him. Listen, I wanna say this too. Funny as hell. Before I say all this, Alicia Baumgardner, shout out to you, girl. I couldn't believe out of all the women to be the first one to do 3-minute, 12 rounds is Alicia Baumgardner. Not really know if I have a great endurance, great stamina, and she's doing this shit. Shout out to Alicia Baumgardner. Because, what's her name, Layla? I don't really know her like that. But she looks like she ain't rattled by Alicia, so that's a perfect dance partner for that. Trying to drag Alicia Baumgardner into lake water, see what's going on with that. Shout out to Alicia Baumgardner. But let's get back to Tank. First of all, Tank knows what he's doing. Tank Davis, he said, he was just making all these implications that it's going to be scripted. When he said, you're paying me, and then he was like, yo, you're going to have to give me extra, and then he said that this is scripted.
At the end of the day, I gave this little guy an opportunity. He should be thanking me. I'm paying him. I'm his boss. He reports to me, and I'm going to fucking son him on November 14th. So fuck you, little man.
You paying me? Are you paying me?
Yeah.
100%? 100%. Facts?
Correct.
Yes? Correct?
Correct. I'm your daddy.
Chris Algieri praised Gervonta Tank Davis for his unmatched ability to draw massive attention every time he fights. According to Algieri, boxing today isn't just about skill, it's also about who can attract fans and bring energy back to the arenas. Tank has become a symbol of that new era. Every time he steps into the ring, he ignites excitement that captivates both hardcore boxing fans and casual viewers alike. Algieri also noted that Jake Paul, while not as technically skilled, has played a similar role in reviving mainstream interest in the sport. His presence has introduced boxing to a whole new audience, people who might never have watched the sport otherwise. In Algieri's view, both men in their own ways are helping boxing grow by drawing attention from completely different audiences.
Boxing could be Jake Paul soon. And the
I have
face
just
of
so much
boxing is
criticism to be
basically... Yeah, the face of boxing now is based on if you sell and if people tune in and how many eyes are tuning in when you fight. Gervonta Davis had that. Jake Paul has that. Now they're fighting each other.
Again,
Truly,
these are created
after this
products.
fight,
These are still created products. Jake made his name going to Walgreens and making funny faces. You know what I mean? And it was just blowing up on YouTube and whatnot, right? I mean, that's how he started.
the world we live in now, dude. It's unfortunate.
Okay,
It's not like Sugar Ray Leonard, who was the best fighter in the world and marketable. It's not like Oscar De La Hoya, who was a gold medalist, great fighter, and marketable.
But what I'm saying is technology allows us to make, if I want to take this shoe off right here, and I say I want to make my Nike sneaker into the best product possible, and I got enough money to push it behind it. I put it all over your social media platform, and I put it all over your TV set and all over your phone and all over. You know what, bro? You're gonna start to get curious about.
Charleston White didn't hold back when speaking about Jake Paul's boxing career. He claimed that Jake's entire run in the sport is nothing more than entertainment dressed up as boxing. In his view, none of Jake's fights have felt like real competitive bouts. They're more like scripted shows built to attract clicks, attention, and money. Charleston argues that Jake has never faced a true elite fighter who could test his heart, endurance, and skill inside the ring. His criticism echoes what many boxing purists have been saying. Jake isn't fighting to master the sport. He's fighting to market himself. White believes that if Jake ever dares to face Gervonta Tank Davis, the truth will come out instantly. Tank's speed, timing, and experience against real champions would completely expose Jake's limitations. And as Charleston puts it, you can fake the fame, but you can't fake the fight. Real legends are made through real wars, not staged exhibitions.
YouTube boxing and what people say is going on in the media, without a doubt, I think Charleston White is 100% right.
Teddy Atlas, one of the most respected voices in boxing, compared the potential Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis fight to the time Jake's brother Logan faced Floyd Mayweather. He explained that while Jake might have the physical advantage, it's Tank's experience that will ultimately decide the outcome. Atlas described Tank as a dancer, a fighter who controls the rhythm, the pace, and the energy inside the ring. Throughout his career, Tank has faced dangerous opponents and developed the instincts to break down anyone no matter their size or build. Jake Paul, on the other hand, still lacks the sharpness and ring awareness needed to compete at that elite level. Atlas emphasized that boxing isn't about size or muscle. It's about precision, timing, and control. And when Tank moves, every step is calculated, every punch has purpose, and every moment in the ring is part of his rhythm.
When I heard it, no, I didn't like it, to be honest, for the optics and everything else I just said. But you do have one guy who, yeah, he's smaller, but he's a top fighter, he can punch, and he's fighting a guy who's not a top pro fighter, who's bigger. What if he hits him on the chin? What if he hits him on the chin? It'll wind up selling. And that's what'll wind up selling it. The what if. What if Tank makes him do a cha-cha? He hits him on the chin, and Jake Paul, we're going to find out if he can dance. Whoa, 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 whoa. You know, do the cha-cha. That's what's going to sell it. And you can't argue that what if. You can't. I know I get to places that other people won't go and everything else. They just dismiss stuff because it's easier to do that. It's safer to do that. You don't have the bows and arrows coming at you from people that argue with you because you did that. But I don't care. I've had bows and arrows my whole life. I don't care. But that's true. That what if What if this guy who is a real good puncher, who is one of the best fighters in the world right now, what if he hits him? What if he makes a miss and he counters him? Or he jumps up in the air?
Showbiz the Adult also shared his thoughts on Gervonta Tank Davis's personality outside the ring. He admitted that Tank may not be the most polished speaker or businessman, but that's not what makes him dangerous. Tank's confidence, he explains, comes from his upbringing, an environment that demanded toughness, not speeches. Showbiz noted that Tank's body language during press conferences says everything. He never looks nervous, pressured, or intimidated. When he stands across from his opponents, there's a silent energy that speaks louder than words. While Jake Paul is skilled at promoting fights and mastering the media game, Showbiz emphasized that Tank's presence doesn't rely on marketing. It's built on authenticity, fearlessness, and pure fighting spirit.
Tank Davis is a violent human being. He's a savage. And he didn't feel in his element. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. If you're from the hood, you will know. It's kind of like taking a guy from the block and putting him in the corporate world in a business meeting. He's going to be so out of his element that he's just, he doesn't even know how to argue without sounding like, I'm gonna whoop your ass, I'm gonna beat you. The way Jake was doing things, he had the clowns coming out.
Not everyone is convinced that Gervonta Tank Davis could defeat Jake Paul. Some analysts urge fans to stay realistic and remember that weight classes exist for a reason. They argue that while Tank's power and explosiveness are unmatched at lightweight and super featherweight, stepping up against a naturally bigger fighter like Jake Paul is a completely different challenge. Boxing, after all, is a sport ruled by physics. A 135-pound fighter moving up to face someone who walks around at over 190 pounds faces major disadvantages in reach, strength, and endurance. These analysts suggest that Tank's punches might not carry the same effect against a man of Jake's size, and even if Tank lands clean, Jake's heavier frame could absorb the shots in a way smaller opponents simply can't.
And we want to know, who will win in this fight? Jake Paul or Tank Davis? It's a legit question. And I actually want to really hear your thoughts on who do you think is going to win. Because I know what Vegas is saying, but I want to know what you think. You got
Personally, I think Tank too little, bro.
Yo,
I think Tank too little.
I'm so glad you have a brain on your fucking shoulder.
I think Tank too little.
I said, bro.
I think Tank's too little. That's what I'm saying. That weight class is for a reason.
Davis
that weight class is for a reason.
5'5", 135 pounds. Jake Paul is 6 feet, 205 pounds.
That's what I'm saying.
Bro.
He's too
6'1",
little.
205. Everybody's like, yeah, bro, but Tank it only takes one good punch. Yes, it takes one good punch when you're about the same size. There's a 60, 70-pound difference in weight in these people. I don't think nobody puts the physics in mind. Jake Paul gets punched in the face by dudes 200 pounds with all their might on a weekly basis. A 135-pound puncher, bro. If y'all remember the Mayweather versus Conor McGregor fight, Conor walks around like 180 on the regular. He's like 5'9", 180. Mayweather's like 5'7", 145. That 30-pound difference, bro, if you remember that fight, Mayweather was putting mittens on Conor. Guess what happened to Conor? He didn't hit the ground once.
No.
He lasted all 12 rounds getting hit with flurries. I'm talking about Mayweather was having his time. He's being cocky with it, hitting him with all kind of combos. And we're watching the last 3 rounds of that shit like, yo, knock him out. And you know what? He could not knock him out because Conor gets punched by people that are 170, 180 pounds on a regular. And just that 20, 30-pound difference, it was like impossible for him to do anything. And that's exactly what I feel like is going to happen.
Despite all the skepticism, many fans still find Jake Paul's presence in boxing entertaining. His fights spark both criticism and excitement, adding a sense of curiosity that keeps the sport buzzing. While some purists dismiss his bouts as little more than money grabs, others see them as a way to inject fresh energy into boxing. Jake Paul has a rare ability to make people talk. Whether they love him or hate him, everyone pays attention. Every time his name is linked to a fight, the spotlight follows. Fans don't just tune in to watch him win. They tune in to see if this will finally be the night he loses. That unpredictability has brought life back to boxing. Even traditional fans admit that Jake's presence adds drama and spectacle the sport has been missing for years. Boxing has always thrived on rivalries and big personalities, and like it or not, Jake Paul delivers exactly that, even as he continues to grow as a fighter.
Oh, this is bad for boxing, this is bad for boxing. Mate, calm down, calm down. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of him, but he's bringing a lot of eyes to boxing. A lot of eyes to boxing. He's doing great for boxing. I don't care what everyone thinks. The weight difference is mad though. Lightweight to God knows cruiserweight or whatever the hell he is. Oh, Gervonta might get thumped up, you know. Hey, if he gets bashed up, I can never go on TikTok live again. The TikTok warriors are going to give me a hard time. They're going to say Jake Paul's undisputed. Oh my God, he's the best thing since sliced.
British boxer Dave Allen offered a more balanced perspective on the potential matchup. He admitted that he never enjoyed Jake Paul's previous fights against Mike Tyson or Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., saying they felt more like publicity stunts than genuine competition. However, he believes the fight with Gervonta Tank Davis could be different. Allen explained that as long as no one gets seriously hurt, there's nothing wrong with it. After all, it's an exhibition meant to entertain fans. He acknowledged that while Jake may not be a world-class boxer, his fights spark conversations that keep the sport alive. According to Allen, people are curious. They want to see how far Jake can push himself and how Tank handles stepping in against someone so much bigger. In his view, that kind of intrigue is exactly what boxing needs right now.
The thing with Jake Paul, I think he's a good area title level fighter, and that's a good level, like, and you can be proud of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's good. But the Mike Tyson fight I didn't like. The Chavez fight was just farcical because he's 10-11 years past his best, up 6 weight divisions. But less of a problem because Chavez wasn't in his 50s. Fighting the MMA guys, again, he's fighting people that don't do the same, they're not even in the same sport. But while they're a bit older, they're still not in the 50s. So all that stuff, I won't really watch any of it. I think I've watched one fight against Tommy Fury, the only professional boxer in and around his prime years, and he got beat. But I think his area title level, I think he works really hard, I think he trains hard, and I don't think he's a bad fighter at all. I don't think he's a good fighter, but he's not a bad fighter. For his experience, he's not bad at all. But Gervonta Davis is a lightweight. So, by all means, if they make a few quid and nobody gets hurt, then great. But I certainly wouldn't be paying a penny to watch it. I think it's just absolutely ridiculous, farcical. Who wants to watch an exhibition? Gervonta Davis is in his prime years. Why is he wasting his time? Why is that having a rematch for the fella he got a draw with? Why is not?
This fight didn't just come out of nowhere. According to reports, Gervonta Tank Davis has mentioned Jake Paul several times over the years, teasing the possibility of a future showdown. Fans have long wondered if it would ever become a reality, and now the talks are finally getting serious. Both sides have exchanged words online, hinting that they're ready to settle things inside the ring. Tank has remained confident that he can expose Jake's weaknesses, while Jake sees the matchup as another chance to prove that he belongs among real boxers.
Yeah, you're seeing what I'm seeing. Tank Davis versus Jake Paul. I don't buy it for a second, but apparently they were in negotiations to have this fight happen if Tank Davis beat his previous opponent, which obviously ended in a draw. Which means he's obviously going to go and rematch Lamont Roach in his next fight. But come on, Tank Davis versus Jake Paul. Jake Paul is a cruiserweight / heavyweight. Tank Davis is a lightweight. This is Jake Paul's mindset. Okay, I'll fight a legit professional boxer, OAP. I'll fight a legitimate professional boxer who's his age, loses. Okay, I'll fight another professional boxer who's half his weight. Honestly, I don't care how big Jake Paul is, I genuinely do think that Tank Davis would beat Jake Paul. I think Tank Davis would be too fast, too slick, outbox him, move around. He wouldn't knock him out, obviously. I don't think he'd knock him out because of how big Jake Paul is, but he would outbox him 100%. But anyway guys, let me know what you guys think about this potential fight. I really hope it does not happen because Jake Paul needs to fight a legitimate pro who isn't a taxi driver, who isn't old and isn't hot.